Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Hart, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'll be breaking down the Thursday night football game between the Broncos and the Colts. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Do appreciate all you guys hitting that like button. It really helps out my channel, so please do that for me. Greatly appreciate it. And today, I'll be going, player through player, breaking down each play I like, the values, where we can look to get different to take down this $1 million to first. Before I get into it, follow me on Twitter, DFS, putting up any and every DFS stat and fantasy football stat that I think is relevant to helping us win each week when it comes to fantasy football and DFS. So follow me there. And let's look back at Monday Night Football slate. Can we just get one slate where it's just a good game and the kicker and defense don't win at all? It's just so annoying. Like, look at this lineup. It's not like I'm going to take down, I think, there'd probably be a few duplicates of this lineup, but you're telling me Kittle doesn't get a target in the first half? Not one single target. The man you're paying $47 million, not one target. He gets one in the second half, the start of the third quarter, touchdown gets called back, and that's it. That's all he sees. It's just super frustrating seeing that. But the winning lineup was split like 100 plus ways. It was Kupp, Debo, Wilson, Higbee, defense a touchdown, and then Matt Gay, who I said was my favorite kicker out of the two. For this breakdown, the Colts, Broncos, 3.5 point spread favored to the Broncos, and a 43 game total. Now, the main question mark on this slate is going to be Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, he's questionable with that high ankle sprain. The good news is they said that if he plays, it's not going to further damage his ankle. But at the same time, I really don't think he's going to play. He didn't practice today. I doubt he practices at all this week. If he plays, it would just be him playing, taking some shots so he doesn't feel the pain and just playing through it. But I really think they're going to rest him this week. So I'm going to just break down this slate thinking, going with the mindset that he's not going to play. So for the Colts side, we'll say Jonathan Taylor for right now is not playing. Obviously, we have to keep up with the news. But Michael Pittman, 10-6. I think him and Courtland Sutton are my two favorite captains for the slate. They're both going to be super popular, but Michael Pittman's pretty much the whole offense when it comes to the passing game for the Colts. As you can see, 13 targets week 1, was injured week 2, saw 9 versus Kansas City, and then 6 versus Tennessee, and that loss versus Tennessee. But if we look at the snap count for the Colts, we can see that Paris Campbell's playing about 67% of the snaps right now. Pittman about 90%. He'll be 90+% in this game, I'm assuming. Alec Pierce playing about 44%. Doolin 29%, and then Mike is playing about 14% for the wide receiver room. But yeah, I mean, with Michael Pittman, he's the main target, wide receiver 1. Really like him as a captain. Matt Ryan, I prefer to get to Russ Wilson. I just think Russ has a way higher ceiling than Matt Ryan. I mean, Matt Ryan can get you there, as you can see from last game versus Tennessee. Had 22 fantasy points, but I just think I prefer Russell Wilson for that upside, especially with Javonte Williams now hurt for the rest of the year, which is super unfortunate. Had him in the fantasy league, but with him hurt, I do think the Broncos are going to turn towards passing the ball a little bit more, especially with how bad Melvin Ingram is, or Melvin Gordon is, with carrying the football. He's fumbled it like 4 straight games in a row. He's just garbage. So I do think they're going to pass more. That's why I think I like Russell's upside better than Matt Ryan's. But I don't mind getting into him at 9-6. Looks okay. I trust Russ and his weapons more than Matt Ryan and his weapons. Nyheim Hines is going to be probably the most popular play on the slate, especially if Jonathan Taylor's out. I don't expect him to take a huge workload when it comes to the rushing game, maybe 10 rushes. I think most of his is going to come from the targets. I do think he's probably going to get 5 to 6 targets this game, if not more. They're going to really rely on him getting the ball out of the backfield and catching it, running it, doing all that stuff out of the backfield when it comes to the receiving game. As you can see, he was playing about 32% of the snaps last game. Their backup, Deion Jackson, played 0, but now that we know Jonathan Taylor is probably going to be out, do expect that number for Hines to probably bump up to 70% range. We'll have to keep an eye out on how they kind of handle that running back room, but expect Hines to be the number one option running back for the Colts. Has massive upside when it comes to, receiving, getting those targets out of the backfield. He had some big games last year when it came to catching balls out of the backfield and getting some touchdowns. So really like the upside there. You can definitely throw him in the captain. He does have enough upside, I think, as a receiver and as a rusher to get there. It'd be very contrarian, I think, a little bit. I do think people are going to play more in the captain spot just because of his expanded role if Jonathan Taylor is out. But I do think you can get away with him in the captain. Let's see here. Alec Pierce, want to put him in the captain. I mean, you could say he's viable for a flex play. But as we know, he's only playing about 44% of the snaps right now for the wide receivers. Not something you want for a captain play. That's very boom or bust. Do you think you want a little bit safer floor and a little bit higher of a ceiling? A guy who's going to be playing closer to 70, 80, even 90% of the snaps. So a guy like Michael Pittman. But yeah, based on that, I do think he's an okay flex play. Mo Alley-Cox, the leader of the tight end room, saw 6 targets, caught all 6 for 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. As you can see before that, he's very boom or bust. Either he's going to get you like 2 catches for very few yards, or he's going to get you that touchdown. Matt Ryan does look to tight ends a decent amount in the red zone, so maybe you can bank on that in one of these showdown slates. It seems to happen a lot. But as we look at the tight end room, Mo Cox played 70% of the snaps, Granson played 45%, and then Jelani Woods played 23%. So that's kind of how I'd rank the tight ends. Doolin saw 3 targets, caught 2 of them for 18 yards. Once again, not heavily involved in the passing game, playing about 29% of the snaps, so he is in there a little bit. It's one of those things you can take a dart throw on that, but I just don't think you get to force that. Would rather get to a kicker or even the defense at this point rather than taking a shot on one of those wide receivers like a Doolin. Chase McLaughlin looks okay. Once again, I'd prefer getting to McManus on the other side. I think he's a little bit safer. Offense is a little bit better. So I'd rather get to him over McLaughlin, but I don't mind getting there if you want to get another piece from the Colts. Paris Campbell, I'd say he'd be my favorite. I'm not sure why Doolin and even Pierce are more expensive than Paris Campbell right now. I mean, he's playing 67% of the snaps. He's been basically above 70 every week so far. I know week 2, Pittman was hurt, so his numbers did jump up, about 10% there. Then it came back down week 3. Week 4 was a little bit more down than that as he got a little bit more people involved. But yeah, I think Paris Campbell would be my favorite value play for the Colts side, 3,600. Once again, Matt Ryan's not getting a lot of these guys involved. It's pretty much just Pittman or Jonathan Taylor or Hines. But as you can see, coming off last game, 4 targets, 4 catches, 43 yards, 8.3 fantasy points. And at 3,600, a guy who's going to be playing 70% snaps or maybe even more, I think that's a decent spot to get him at 3,600 as a flex play. Colts D, not going to go there. Shaquille Leonard might be out again. They've just been getting up a decent amount of points to people, not getting too many sacks. So not for me, but once again, with these showdown slates, I guarantee a defense is going to, be in a winning lineup. Most likely the Broncos. It's going to be tough because they're probably going to be like 35% owned, maybe even 40%, which is going to be unreal. But it's just one of those things. Maybe wait to play him this week. Who knows? Granson, the second tight end in the tight end room, as we can see, 45% of the snaps last week. Don't mind getting there. He was involved. He would only play 45% of the snaps, but he did see 4 targets on those, 4 catches for 62 yards. So he's a little bit more involved when he is in compared to Mo Alley-Cox. It's 3,200. Maybe I do prefer going to him over Mo Alley-Cox just because he is running a little bit more routes. When he's in there, he's getting targeted. And I do think the Colts are going to be down in this game. Jelani Woods, I don't think he gets to go there, 2,200. It seems a little bit more of a dart throw. He did get 2 touchdowns in that Kansas City game, but both of them came, obviously, when they're in the red zone. So if you want to take that shot, you can definitely go there. Deion Jackson, going to be running back too. I'm not sure how much run he'll get or how they're going to handle this because Hines is very small. He's not like an every down back. It'll be interesting to see kind of what game plan they come up going into this Thursday night game, especially against the pretty solid Broncos D, who I know they just get ran through by Josh Jacobs, but the rushing attack without Jonathan Taylor is way different. Not sure if they're going to look to Deion Jackson to kind of handle the, the first or second downs, but I just don't trust going there at 1,600. Philip Lindsay, maybe they call him up. We'll have to see. But that really does it for this Indiana side. On the Denver side, Russell Wilson, he does have some upside as a captain, and he did get a rushing touchdown, 29 rushing yards last game. Not sure he'll be running around as crazy this game against Indiana's defense, who's not playing too well this year. They're not giving up a ton of points, but do like Russell Wilson a good amount today, especially as a flex play. Sutton, I do think he's probably my favorite captain play. As you can see, he's very consistent with Russell Wilson, established as the number one wide receiver for him. Wilson's looking his way a ton, especially in the first plays of these games. He's looking to get him involved, which is huge. First game, 11 fantasy points. Second game, 22, 17, 16, 7 targets, 11, 10, 7. Catching most of them. Touchdown threat, red zone threat. Russell likes looking him in the red zone, so I think he's my favorite captain in this slate. And if you're going to put a wide receiver in the captain spot, most likely you're going to want to get to their quarterback, because if the wide receiver is doing very well, that means the quarterback's going to be doing very well. Melvin Gordon, most likely running back 1. But as I said, he's fumbled pretty much every game so far. 1 versus Seattle, none versus Houston, and then 2 versus San Fran, and then 1 versus Las Vegas. He's just a fumble machine, so if he goes in there and he fumbles, he's probably going to get his time cut in half to Mike Boone. So, I mean, at 8,800, that's very expensive for a running back who he's going to be the bell cow back. But once again, if he fumbles, they're really going to limit his playing time. I guarantee it, because they just signed Latavius Murray as well, and they just throw Mike Boone in there. So, I think Melvin Gordon is going to be a fade for me. If you want to play him just because ownership is probably going to be very low on him, you can. But I just don't think I'd get there. Do have a good amount of interest in Jerry Jeudy. He's more of that big play threat. Not going to get a ton of targets unless it's a kind of big play. But 7,800 for him looks okay. Boone, 6,200. Do prefer to get to him out of the both running backs between him and Melvin Gordon. Not going to get heavily involved in the running game. He's more kind of like a Hines. They do like to go to him on those, third and long, second and long plays where they're going to be most likely passing out of the backfield. As you can see, played about 36% of the snaps, and a lot of those snaps came in the second half once Javonte Williams was hurt and they were down a few scores. So he's more of their third down back, the passing back. So I do prefer getting to him in this spot compared to Melvin Gordon, especially for that price difference. Latavius Murray, they did pick him up. I mean, coming off a very short week, Latavius Murray just played Sunday morning in England for the Saints, and now he's going to be playing Thursday night for the Denver Broncos. Don't think he's going to get much run at all. So I do think that's a fade for me. KJ Hamler only played, I think it was 1 snap. 4 plays. Only played 4 plays. Got targeted on 1 as a deep ball. Other than that, he not involved much in these games, which is very interesting. Kendall Hinton was kind of the third wide receiver for them, but he just got sent down to the practice squad because I think they bring him up for this game, he's going to have to sign for the team. So this isn't something we really have to keep an eye out for, because if Hinton's back on the team, rather take a shot on him at 1,000. As you can see, last game he played 57% of the snaps over Hamler. But if they're not going to pick up his contract and bring him up to the team, I do think you can definitely take a shot on Hamler at 4,400. I know it's pretty gross. He's pretty expensive. It hasn't been getting any targets and really hasn't played at all. But just keep that in mind. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Broncos D, do think they're probably going to be like 40% owned for good reason. You're running against Matt Ryan, who has not looked good. Jonathan Taylor is most likely going to be out. So, the Broncos D looks pretty solid, even with the loss of Randy Gregory. I do think there's some upside there. Even at that elevated ownership, they're going to come in at. Brandon McManus, do like going to him. Once again, kickers are optimal with quarterbacks and on the offensive side of things. So, solid leg. It's in Denver, so you can kick up the 60-yard field goals, like him a decent amount. Alex O, not been getting any run in the tight end room. As you can see, Eric Saubert has pretty much been tight end 1 the past 2 weeks. Alex O only played 1 snap, and then Tomlinson is getting into that second tight end run. So don't look to Alex O. I mean, you could take a dart throw. Maybe he plays this game for some reason, but very interesting how he only played 1 snap last game with no news surrounding it. So But if they either get to Saubert, not going to be heavily involved in the passing game, but he is playing those tight end snaps, tight end number 1. So I do think if you want to take a dart throw, you can definitely look to him. As I said with Hinton, we just got to keep an eye out if they bring him up to the team. If they do, they're going to have to sign him. And that means most likely Hamler is not going to be wide receiver 3. But once again, keep an eye on that. And then back, as we can see, didn't play last game. And where is Tomlinson? All the way down here, $200. Wasn't involved in the passing game, more of it in there as a blocker. And that is about it. Maybe, let's see, Tyree Cleveland. Did play 12% week 1, 43% week 2. So this is interesting. Maybe Tyree Cleveland is going to be cleared to play. If he plays, maybe you could take a dart throw there. If he looks like he'd maybe be the third wide receiver in that room. Not too confident on that. But we'll have to keep an eye on that third wide receiver kind of room for the Broncos between Hinton, Hamler, and Tyree Cleveland. But that pretty much does it for this slate breakdown. So if you do enjoy the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn that notification bell. As I said, Sutton and Pittman are my favorite plays at captain so far. I do think you can go to Hines. Obviously, you can take a shot on Jerry Jeudy just for that big play potential. Otherwise, I don't think there's many other captains I'd go to. I'll just throw in Pittman, and this is kind of the direction I'm going towards when it comes to this slate for Thursday night. So once again, if you could just hit that like button, do appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.